So we got a couple minutes here before class. Yes, and if you are joining me today, welcome. I know it is a challenge to make the time and space for this. I have had a home practice for a long time. I wouldn't say that it's not as vigorous. My home practice is not as stringent or vigorous as it once was. There was a time before I had children and I used to practice like 2 hours a day at home. And how do you do that? Well, it was a different time, but also it's what works is when you set up a space in your living area that is kind of the designated go-to space, because I do feel like there is this. I read this once and it sounded very. I don't know. Like very mystical, and not that I don't like. I love mystical, but sometimes it's hard to just buy into something mystical so quickly. But anyway, it sounded very mystical. This idea that like you come back to this space and you meditate in the same, maybe even in the same clothes, in the same space at the same time. But I do think that there is a lot of value to that idea. And I noticed that coming to my mat, same room, same time if possible, I noticed just how the quality of my breath changes almost immediately. And you can kind of enter into that yoga mindset more easily if you have made the effort to establish that routine, establish a precedent for that practice. So I'm sure a lot of people right now are making that effort and trying to figure out a way to do this thing, yoga, which maybe you're new to, but likely you have a practice of, but you're bringing it into a new space. And so I really encourage you to commit to the class that you've chosen to do, or really make a time commitment. Like, this is the time and space that I'm going to be doing yoga, and follow through with it. Whether you do the whole class, whether you just sit on your mat for that time duration, I think it's really powerful, because I know that for myself, when I'm practicing at home, there is like, my mind is just constantly going out of the room, like thinking, is this what I should be doing? Oh, I could be doing this and this and this. Maybe my kids need me, blah, blah, blah. Like, is this the way to best spend my time? So just make that commitment now. I know when we go to a yoga studio, the commute to the studio, the being around the other people kind of sets up that commitment. Like, it's going to be, you're not thinking about leaving, because leaving would be this whole thing and everybody would know and you'd be embarrassed, Not that that's not appropriate sometimes. But anyway, but here, like, stay. Please stay. Because it's going to be good. I can't guarantee it, but I will hope for you and me that it's all good. Okay, let's begin. So if you have a mat, great. If you don't have a mat, just create a little space. If you have a blanket or something to sit on, that might be appropriate for this time. If you have the props, gather them. If you don't have the props, a A towel is a great strap substitute, and we will be using the strap today. So without further ado, welcome and find your seat. Perhaps up on some padding. Generally, if the level of your pelvic crest is higher than your knees, your inner thighs are going to release more and your general seat will be more comfortable. Rest your hands on your thighs and then close your eyes. Arrive here. So that's going to be, I titled my podcast for the week, Arrive ad infinitum. I don't think that's the correct pronunciation, but arrive again and again in the same way on repeat. So ask yourself at this moment how you are feeling. And listen for your body's response. Are there any areas of pain, tension, discomfort? Can you identify a more general vibe in your body? And can you approach your practice today with curiosity and acceptance? So if we cannot accept where we are, it becomes much more difficult to move into the future, move into the next moment. So let your mind traverse your body, addressing anything that might be coming up, considering this idea of moving prana or vital energy throughout your being. Recognize those areas where your body is meeting the surfaces beneath you. And root down. Imagine, visualize roots growing from your body down into the floor, down through the foundation of whatever building you might be in, deep down into the earth below. Setting foundation for your practice. And then from that connection to the earth, draw energy up your spine. Shrug your shoulders up towards your ears, lengthening the sides of your body, and then loop your shoulder blades together behind your heart, creating a gentle contraction of the upper back as the collarbones open and lift. Let the forearms melt towards the floor, bringing with them the shoulder blades down the back side of your chest. Tilt your chin parallel to the floor, ease the sides of your neck back, align your head over your heart over the center of your pelvis. Bring a fingertip or two to your upper abdomen. Create a tone there by drawing your left and right front lower ribs into a central point and then easing that point slowly towards your spine. Strength at the core, lengthen the low back, soften your skin. Tune into any inadvertent expression in the facial features. So you might have a resting face. Really bring rest to your face. So notice those places where you might be snarling your lip or furrowing your brow. And let any facial tension melt away. Forehead broad, cheeks slack, eyelids heavy. Now, turn your attention to your breath. Breathe in and out through your nostrils, establishing a long, slow, deep breath pattern. And as you're ready, begin the practice of Ujjayi Pranayama, the triumphant breath, Do so by drawing in a gentle contraction at the back of your throat. So by shrinking this passageway into the lungs, you're allowing yourself to breathe more slowly and with more control. There's also this little added bonus sound that comes with the breath. I love that sound as a tool to bring the awareness into the breath, into the body, into the present experience. So let that sound be the soundtrack to this breath meditation. Discover each breath. As you tune in to the subtleties of this experience, the idea that the breath is this monotonous thing will start to melt away. You'll start to see the variations, the possibilities of each breath. Again, approach your breath as you are approaching your practice with curiosity and acceptance. Let the consciousness ride the wave of 3 more breaths. As you have completed those 3 rounds of Ujjayi Pranayama, draw your palms together in front of your heart. And we will chant Om 3 times before beginning the moving practice today. Exhale and inhale for Om. Bow your head to your heart, release your palms to your thighs, then slowly lift your head as you open your eyes. Recross your legs with the opposite ankle on top. As you inhale next, sweep your arms out, up, and overhead, reaching through your fingertips as your palms touch. Exhale, hands through heart center and arms to your sides, shoulders roll back. Inhale, synchronize breath and movement, reach up. Exhale, hands through heart center and arms to your sides. One more time. Inhale like this. Exhale, hands through heart center and arms to your sides. This time, inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, twist right, left hand coming to right thigh, right hand behind. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, twist left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right, flowing with the breath into these twists. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist left. One more round. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist right. Inhale, center, last side. Exhale, twist the upper body, chest opens towards the left wall. Inhale, center. Exhale, fold over the right leg, release the head down, keep the hips grounded. Breathe here. Breathing along the left side body, noticing the low back, the space between the ribs on the left side. Inhale, we'll come back to center. Exhale, fold over the left leg, the right arm reaching out, right hip tacking back and down. Breathe along the right side body. Inhale, back to center, and exhale, fold forward, keeping the hips grounded. Reach the arms forward, hips back. Checking in with the back body, the low back, the outer hips. Using the breath to explore the body in this asana, in this shape. To come back up, you might walk your hands back or sweep your arms overhead, drawing back through the sides of the waistline. Exhale, arms to your sides. Find your strap as you come to Virasana. This pose often requires some prop underneath the hips. As you bring your knees together, angle your shins apart, point your toes, grab the flesh and muscle of your calves, pull it back and apart as you take a seat between your heels. So you might notice I slid a blanket underneath my hips. If your knees are in any pain or discomfort in this shape, get some height underneath your hips. Grab your strap or towel, extend your arms out in front of you, reach through your knuckles, and then plug your arms deeply into your shoulder sockets. Let the inner thighs wrap towards the floor. Tailbone lengthens down, lower front ribs draw in towards one another and towards the back body, strengthening the core, lengthening the low back, and then begin to sweep the arms out, up, and overhead. Again, reach through the knuckles, draw the shoulder blades down the back side of the chest, plugging the arms into the shoulder sockets. Lower ribs in and back, tailbone down, extend up through the knuckles. And now begin to, without moving the chest, begin to pull the biceps back behind the ears. So this is subtle. The arms are just coming back without the ribs jutting forward, without the tailbone tucking under. Arms are coming back. Soften the face and notice. So often it's these not very impressive, not photo-worthy poses that really create a lot of interesting sensation. So isn't it interesting, just by pulling your arms back behind your head, that you feel so much in your upper back, in your shoulders, in your arms. And now slowly begin to widen your hands apart as you bring your arms down behind you. Doing some shoulder rolls here. Inhale, the arms lift. And exhale, they draw down. So this is early on in the practice. If your shoulders are really screaming out here, then really get as much space between your hands to make this a bearable, tolerable experience. To make it more intense, get your hands closer together and then try to work with straight elbows. They might feel straight, so I notice when I'm looking at the prompt here that elbows straight is like a pretty deep expression of this. So explore your shoulders. Again, be curious, accept where you are as you move forward into the future, into the unknown. Okay, for all my Elsa fans out there, that was for you. Okay, so keep the strap and hold it in your right arm. Extend your right arm up along your right ear, then bend your right elbow, tap the base of your neck, left arm out to the left, palm faces back. Grab two ends of the strap, or if you have the space, grab fingertips, or if you have the space, grab wrists. If your shoulders are that open, be where you are. Hug the left shoulder blade onto the back of your chest. Reach up through your right elbow, and again, lower ribs in and back, tailbone lengthens down, chin parallel to the floor. And I'm going to add an extra element to this for those interested. Tilt the left ear towards the left shoulder. This is as far as my head goes. I feel I have very tight trapezius muscles. So this is great for me, hopefully great for you. Tilt your chin forward and back. Notice what you're feeling, where you're feeling, where you want more, where you want to back off. Notice if the right sits bone has become light. If so, try to ground back down through the right sits bone as you extend up through the right elbow. Head back to center, release the strap. Left arm along the left ear, bend the elbow, tap the base of the neck, elbow towards the ceiling, right arm out to the right, palm faces back. Bend the elbows, grab the two ends of the strap or fingertips. Left elbow up, right shoulder hugs to the back of the chest. Root through the sits bones, lower ribs in and back. Establish your Gomukhasana, upper body or cow face posture. And then release your right ear towards your right shoulder. If that was interesting on the first side, do it again. Not interested? Don't worry about it. Forget about it. Remember when we used to say that? I'm still saying it. Okay, explore the left side of the neck, and if there's a place where you want to pause and delve deeper, delve deep. It's your body, your practice. Enjoy it if you can. Always the option to enjoy yourself here. Okay, head back to center, release your arms, and come forward of your knees to come out of Virasana as we come to standing. If you'd like, stand at the top of your mat. We'll do a few half Surya Namaskar A, half sun salutations. Step your feet hip width distance apart to start. Lift and spread your toes, place them back down, create a wide base with your feet. Push down through your feet just as you sat into your hips with our original seat. Root down. Tone up the muscles of your legs so your kneecaps lift. So you want your tailbone to be lengthening down as your lower front ribs draw in and back. The front of your hip points lift. So we're stabilizing the lower body. This will be come in handy as we move into our back bends. Later on in practice, we will do the promised drop back simulations or preparations. Arms at your sides. Roll the palms and roll the palms open. Shoulders back. Push down with your next inhale. Sweep the arms overhead. As you exhale, gently bend your knees as you fold forward, fingertips to the floor, release your head. Inhale, palms to shin, shoulder blades on the back, chin and chest forward. Exhale and fold in. Inhale, rise with the breath, push down with your feet, reach up, look up, palms touch. Exhale, hands through heart center and arms to your sides, palms forward, shoulders back, Tadasana. Two more. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, flow forward, moving with your breath. Release your head. Inhale, palms to shins, shoulders on the back. Exhale, flow forward. Inhale, rise, reach up, push down, palms touch. Exhale, hands through heart center, shoulders roll back, palms forward. Last one. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, flow forward. Inhale, palms to shins, shoulders on the back. Exhale, fold deeply in. Inhale to rise, push down, reach up, palms touch, look up. Exhale, hands through heart center and arms to your sides. If it's reasonable for you, then take your base of your big toes to touch, or you can slide a block between your thighs if your feet do not come together. So slide a block or feet come together, push down, inhale, rise up. Interlace your fingers like so, cross your thumbs, index fingers to the sky, lift up out of your waistline. Exhale, lean the upper body to the right, hips shift gently to the left. Chest and hips squared forward. If you're feeling pain or compression in the low back, tone the legs even more strongly, lift the kneecaps up, lengthen the tailbone down, and then if you like, explore this subtle movement by turning your gaze up beyond your left tricep muscles. For me, that's a profound difference in the pose. It goes right into my outer waistline as I turn my head, interestingly enough. So explore your shape. Breathe along your left side body, root through the left heel, lift into the kneecaps, reach along the left side body. Inhale, come back to center, grow tall. Exhale, upper body leans to the left, hips shift to the right, keeping hips and chest squared forward. Push down through your right heel. Use your left arm to pull your right side longer, and then again, subtle movement of tilting your gaze and chin upward, looking beyond your right tricep muscles, and notice how the pose, if the pose, changes. Breathe along your right side, creating space as you inhale, expansion as you exhale. And inhale back to center, arms at your sides. We're going to do 2 standing back bends here. The first of which will be with hands at the low back, interlaced, fingers interlaced. With the hands at the low back, you'll notice if your tailbone is tilting backward. So you want the bowl of your pelvis to be upright, not tilting forward. So lengthen your tailbone down, lift along the front of your hip points, push down through your feet, establishing your base for your back bend. Interlace your fingers, hug your shoulder blades together, lengthen the tailbone down as you lift your heart up. Look up, chin tilts skyward. So there'll be an option to release your head back. If you know you don't like your head back and that hurts, don't do it. If you're not sure, try it, and then if you don't like it, don't do it the next time. Shoulder blades on the back. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, straighten your elbows, reach your knuckles down as you begin to look along the ceiling towards the back wall. Keep your legs and hips as they are. As you look back, curl back, option to release your head back. Look towards the back wall, look down the back wall. Shoulder blades hugging strongly in, shoulder blades lifting the back of the heart, the front of the heart skyward. Look back, curl back, look back, curl back. And then bring the chest forward, release the hands, shoulders forward. Head comes up last and give it a little shake. Okay, that was back bend 1. Option to repeat back bend 1 second time. Option 2 is to extend the arms overhead, interlace the fingers, cross the thumbs, index fingers to the sky. Push down through your feet, lift up out of your waistline, look to the ceiling, tilt the head back. Reach up, look up, and start with the arms. Without moving the hips, start to take the arms back behind the ears. Biceps behind the ears, drawing a line with the index fingers along the ceiling towards the back wall. And then, if you'd like to go further, curl in the upper back. Maybe release the head back, or if that's not okay for the neck, don't release the head back. Push down with the feet, engage the legs, lengthen the tailbone, lift through the heart. The higher the heart, the longer the spine, the deeper the back bend. Look towards the back wall, down the back wall, curl back. And then chest forward, arms forward. Head comes up last, release your arms to your sides. Inhale, sweep your arms up, and bending your knees deeply, fold forward. Fingertips to the floor, to a block in front of you. Release your head and start to walk out your forward fold. releasing any tension from the low back as the upper body hangs forward, hips shifting side to side, exploring the outer hips, the backs of the legs. Check in with your knees. If it's okay, lift your heels and then sit your hips to your heels, bending your knees forward, doing it once, doing it twice, and then lifting the hips back up. Walk your fingertips behind your heels and now sit down into your imaginary chair, your very fierce chair. Tuck your chin to your chest, forehead towards or to the knees. Weight in the fingertips, weight in the heels, and draw your belly button away from your thighs. Try to create more space in the back body between the vertebrae. Round the spine. Breathe here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Push the feet down, lift the hips up, walk the hands forward, fold deeply into yourself. Inhale, palms to shins, shoulder blades on the back, chin and chest forward. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, rise, arms overhead, look up, reach up, palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart center and arms to your sides. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, flow forward, possibly bending the knees. Inhale, lift halfway. And exhale, take a seat back in your fierce little chair, chin to chest, forehead towards or to the knees. Keep the hips low as you look forward, reach forward like you're holding a box. Reach forward with your fingertips, reach forward with your heart. Draw back with the sides of your waistline. Keep your hips low, hug your ankles and knees together or thighs into the block for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hips high, head low, hands to the floor, fold in. Inhale, lift halfway, shoulder blades on the back. Exhale, fold even deeper. Inhale, rise with the breath, arms overhead, palms touch as you look up. Exhale, hands to the sides, shoulders roll back, palms forward. Inhale, look up, reach up. Exhale, flow forward, fingertips to the mat, release the head. Inhale, palms to shins, shoulder blades on the back. Exhale, fold in, sink the hips down, round the spine, chin to chest, forehead towards or to the knees. Keep the hips low, reach the arms forward. Draw the arms back behind the ears, curling the chest up, sides the waistline back, hips stay low, ankles and knees in. Look up, reach up, biceps back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stand up. Arms overhead, exhale, palms to heart center and arms at your sides. Stand in your mountain. Tadasana, shoulders roll back, palms open forward, rooting into the earth and rising from it. If you've taken class with me before, you've heard me praise the name of this pose. I just love the name mountain pose as a way to inform the practice of this shape. Embody your mountain. And we'll move from our mountain to our tree. What do you call that? What did Professor McGonagall do? Transfiguration. We're transfiguring from a mountain to a tree. Step into your left foot, hands to hips. Turn your right knee, right toes out, keeping your hips and chest squared forward. Tone the muscles up your left leg as though you're pulling on a tight stocking. And then place your right foot to the inside of your calf, inside of your thigh. Or take lotus leg. So if you're doing that, take the outside of the right foot in the left hand. Turn your right knee down towards the floor. Keep your hips squared center. Lengthen the tailbone down. Maybe bring the right hand to your heart. If your foot does not slip in lotus, bring your left hand to your heart. Maybe grow the branches of your tree. And again, this is an important one for acceptance because often our balance is not either what we expect or what we hope for. I think in this time of uncertainty, there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of tension, and that can really affect our balance. So I've had some friends who have been getting into some accidents, and I feel like that's probably true of a lot of people. It's just, you know, we're a little shaky. So if you're noticing that here, I think you're in good company. Just find a place to look, something that's not moving, and then can you just soften your gaze? If you have a window to look out of, can you see a tree? Can you look at that tree and become more like that tree in this moment? The tree don't care about 1 minute, so just like hang out, be present with your breath, with the experience of your body in this shape for a little while. Not worrying about what we've done, what's coming next, how quickly or slowly we're moving. Remember, one of the goals for today is just the idea of establishing your practice, letting it be okay to be on your mat for 75 minutes. Okay, I'm done with that. Okay, right foot grounds. Hands to hips, knee turns out with the hips and chest squared forward, left foot to the calf, to the thigh, or again, if you so desire, take that lotus leg. Extend down through the left inner thigh, through the knee, sole of the left foot towards the ceiling. Hold the foot, left hand to the heart. If you can keep the foot there, right hand to the heart. Hands can stay at heart center or grow the branches of your tree, out, arms out, up and overhead. And then again, establish a focus. So maybe you've turned your whole pose so you could face a window and look out at a tree. Embody the tree, whatever that might mean to you. I'm giving you my interpretation of the poses, but your body is your body to explore. So, what is embodying a tree? What does it mean to do a posture of a tree to you? As you are ready, release your foot back to the floor. Okay. Lynn, if you're out there, grab your hula hoop. Everybody else, I kind of assume you don't have a hula hoop, but grab your imaginary hula hoop. I'm just making this blanket statement that hula hooping is pretty much a great counter pose to most of our yoga postures. So do a little invisible hula hooping with your hips in one direction and your hips in the opposite direction. I'm not to the point where I can just kick it with my hips and have it go in the other direction. I'll get there someday, I hope. 2021 New Year's resolution. What am I going to do the rest of the year? I already learned a hula hoop. Okay. That's enough of that. Feet together. Sweep your arms overhead. Inhale, exhale, right arm underneath your left arm, palms together. Elbows down, chest lifts, eagle arms. Sit down into your imaginary bar stool, higher than your chair. Shift weight to your right foot, lift your left leg up and over your right leg, point your toes back, use the toes as a kickstand, or wrap the left foot behind the right ankle. Shift your knees towards the left, towards center, lining up your wrists, elbows, knees, and ankles. Elbows down, chest lifts, upper body back, sink deep into your hips. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Unwrap, unwind, sweep up, reach up, look up, palms touch. Exhale, left arm underneath your right, palms together, elbows down, chest lifts, upper body back. Sink your hips down into your imaginary bar stool. Weight in the left foot, right leg lifts, point the toes, use the toes as a kickstand, or wrap the right foot behind the left ankle. Shift the knees towards center, towards the right, elbows down, chest lifts up and back. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Unwind, sweep the arms overhead, look up as you reach up, exhale, hands through heart center, and arms to your sides. Tadasana. Whew. Okay, one more hula hooping session. Because it's so fun. Let's just do something fun and frivolous. Get your imaginary hula hoop. I will tell you that I imaginary hula hooped for 2 months, and then I got my hands on a appropriately sized hula hoop, and it only took me like an hour to figure it out. So when we're all back together, I'm going to Clorox wipe my hula hoop down really good, and then we're all going to get to delight in our ability to hula hoop together. Also, Mimi Morrissey is gonna give us, she's got a bunch of hula hoops apparently, so we can all have our own even on our hula, what's it called? Our hoopla celebration, TBA. Okay, now it's time for our inversion. This is very unlike my usual sequencing, but I'm really trying to get us to have a lot of time here for our back bending practice, which I have promised and everybody is so excited to do. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate against the window wall today just because it's easier for you all to see. So we're going to practice our headstands now. If you don't have a headstand practice yet, I will give you some tools to help establish one. So first tool is to have a nice wall that you can use. I don't recommend a glass wall if you are new to this. Okay, so this is the form of headstand that we are taking. So it's called a forearm headstand, or Sirsasana 2, I believe. Okay, so I'm going to have about 3 inches between the heels of my hands. My elbows are not going to be wide apart, but they're going to be the distance of my shoulders apart. Okay, so we're just going to skip down dog altogether today. We're going to come straight into forearm dog. So that arm position I just showed you, establish that, walking your knuckles maybe 4 to 6 inches from the wall. I'm going to melt my heart down, so see my heart melting down, and then I'm going to draw the sides of my waistline back, push my forearms into the floor. That's pretty, actually, seeing myself do that is pretty clear. Okay, chest down, lower ribs and back, push the forearms down. So giving me a nice, secure spine. Okay, so I'm looking between my forearms, tip my toes under, lift my hips up, walk my feet forward without letting my shoulders come forward of my wrist. So this is a don't. This would have a big circle with a red line through it. So I want my shoulders over my wrist with my hips high, and then if this is feeling very unstable, then get your then stay here, get your timer out, and work at this pose. So work at your strength here, which you will eventually, maybe later in life, use to come up into headstand. So this is a great place to establish your strength. If you are ready for headstand, then tuck your chin slightly, bring your head between your wrists, clasping just the very back of your head between the heels of your hands. Okay, pushing down with my forearms, pushing down with my head, lifting into my shoulders, keeping my neck long. One leg lifts, kicks the heels to the wall or the hips to the wall, squeeze the legs together, lengthen the tailbone up, bring the feet away from the wall. So this is a great place to contemplate what it's like to have your world turned upside down. So we are upside down right now. And if this is a new shape to you, it feels crazy. It's really hard. Your neck, your shoulders are screaming from the moment you go upside down. So why is that? Because you don't do this. You just don't do it. It's not familiar. You don't have the muscle groups dialed in. There's not an established, this form is not established. So how do you get established here? You do it more often. You grow the pose
gradually. So and you adapt. So that's a lot of what yoga, I think, the yoga posture practice is about. We move our body into these unfamiliar shapes, and they become more familiar. We explore our bodies with more depth. We get to know our bodies better. We build flexibility and strength in new ways. And we are, and as our bodies move and change and grow and expand, hopefully our mind is along for that journey and learning how to, our mind is kind of on the journey of exploring new territory and establishing new patterns. And so, yeah, we all have to do that, right? Finding a way into the present, accepting the present, and finding a way to work forward with our world upside down, as it is in headstand. Personally, once I established a practice of headstand, it became something that my body really craved, like something I really wanted to do. So I think that's adaptability. You can learn new ways, and then those ways become something you want. Establishing healthy patterns, yes, grounding routines, blah, 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 blah. Come down when you're ready. If you have not already, come down. Take a child's pose. Sit your hips back to your heels. With your hands on the mat in front of you, push your hands down and forward and round your low back. Tuck your tailbone towards your heels. Keep your tailbone tucked, then begin to walk your arms any further forward. Release your head down. Then forearms can melt towards the floor. Arrive here. Feel the earth beneath you, holding you up, preventing you from falling down into the fiery core of this planet. Release into that support. Return to your breath. Notice what you're feeling, where you're feeling it. And as I've commented many times with headstand, is that there's the experience, there's the being in headstand, which is interesting, which is a good challenge, which is a place to really establish strength and balance. And then there's this time after headstand, which I really encourage you to exist in, which I think there's a lot to relish here. There's so much feeling happening in the upper body, and take the time to notice it. Take the time to feel the resonant energy of your practice. Take your arms back, palms face up, heads the arm bones curl forward. Notice the difference here. Okay, slowly roll back up through your spine. And let's come into a downward facing dog. Push the hands down and forward, shift the hips up and back. With an inhale, lift your right leg up. Look to the top of your mat, lunge your right foot forward, create a long stride. Hands beside the front foot, possibly on blocks. Back inner thigh lifted, right outer hip drawing back as the heart opens forward. And then from here, we're going to take a revolved spine, left palm to a block or to the floor, right hand to your right thigh. Revolve your chest towards the right wall, sweep your right arm up. If you'd like, open the chest up further, curling the left ribs, scoured right ribs towards the earth, side the neck, tilt back. And then look down, hand down. Step back, inhale, left leg lifts,
hips, look to the top of your mat, lunge your left foot forward. Heel below the knee, hands frame the front foot, shoulders away from the ears, melt the hips down so left thigh is parallel to the mat. Lift through the back, inner upper thigh, shoulders away from the ears, establish your lunge. I'm looking straight out the window into onto my one orchid. It's a fleur-de-lis orchid that's blooming. It's quite beautiful. I only have one, but I'm cherishing it. So choose to stay here or right palm to the floor, left hand to your left thigh. Revolve your right ribs towards your left inner thigh. Look up, reach up, open up. Again, if you'd like, revolve the right ribs skyward, left ribs earthward, embracing the sky. Side of the neck back, tops of the ears back. Hand down, press back, downward facing dog. If you are still by the wall, you might remove yourself from the wall. Come forward into plank position and exhale, knees to the floor. Tilt your tailbone towards the sky, like you're doing cow pose in the low back. Then grab the outside edges of your mat, push the mat forward as you push your hips up and back. So come into puppy dog pose. I like this addition of grabbing the mat to really lengthen the sides of the body. Push the mat, melt the chin, melt the chest, and you can really feel the shoulder blades hugging the back of the heart. The contraction of the upper back muscles. Chin, chest, melt towards or to the floor. Think about your inner thighs spiraling towards the back wall and then moving apart. Inner thighs, inner upper thighs, back and apart, broadening the pelvis, tilting the tailbone skyward, and then come forward onto your belly. Chin on the floor, arms at your sides. We're going to come right up into Sphinx pose, elbows below the shoulders. Shoulder blades on the back, collarbones broad, left fingertips towards your right elbow, right knee bends. Reach for the inside of your right foot with your right hand, pull your heel towards your outer hip. Kick your foot into your hand, pull your heel towards your outer hip. And this is always a difficult thing to explain. So with your hand is like this, making like a pistol with your right hand, and you're bringing the space, the webbing between your index finger and your thumb to the base of your inner base of your big toe, and then you're pulling your heel towards your outer hips. And then if you have the mobility, you're going to spiral your knuckles to face the front of your mat, elbow towards the ceiling. If your shoulder does not allow that, then don't do it. Again, see where you're at, observe, be curious, and have some acceptance around your experience. Left elbow down, lift your chest up, hand to the floor if you need more. Quad stretch, lengthen the tailbone, lift the lower abdomen in and up. Kick with the foot, push with the hand. Breathe with the lungs, soften with the edges of the mouth. Half frog pose. We didn't do full frog pose yesterday, but let's try it today. It's quite awkward. Okay, awkward frog I call it. Release your right foot to the floor. Right fingertips towards the left elbow, bend the left knee, reach for the inside of the foot with that pistol shape. Push the heel towards the outer hip. If you have the space available in your thigh and in your shoulder, spin your knuckles forward, giving you more leverage to push your heel towards your outer hip. Wrap the left ribs forward so the chest and rib cage square to the top of your mat. Either choose to stay here or right hand might come down to bring more of a back bend into the upper back. Again, be curious about the shape, be curious about your body in this position, and then move from where you are. Accept the boundary, and then breathe into that boundary. Use the breath to move from where you are into where you may be going. Okay, release that. Chin to the floor. Bend your knees, flex your feet, reach for the outer edges of your ankles with both hands. If you can only grab one ankle, grab the right ankle this time, we'll grab the left ankle on the second round. Ankles and knees hug in so that they're shoulder width distance or hip width distance apart, no wider. Hug the shoulder blades together behind your heart, and then kick your ankles, lift your thighs, let your shoulders be drawn back. So there's some mechanics here, and then there's some you doing the work here. So as the ankles kick into the hands, the arms are pulled taut, and automatically the shoulders are drawn back. The heads of the arm bones are pulled towards the back body. Also, try to create some expansion in the front of the chest with your breath. Also, encourage the shoulder blades together behind your heart. Kick and lift, kick and lift, kick and lift, and release. Left cheek to the floor, head to the arm bones forward, arms at your sides, big toes touch, heels wide apart, head is heavy, neck is soft, arms are heavy, upper back is broad. Big toes touch to widen the low spine. You might shift the hips a little side to side. And again, come to this idea of being held, being supported. You are safe in this moment, in this shape. Come back to your breath. Yesterday I said languish in your breath, and then I looked up the definition of languish, which is weaken, lessen in vitality, draining of life. So I've decided not to use that word again in the yoga context. But I want another word that doesn't mean that, but sounds like that, because I like the melty sound of that word. So melt into the floor. Be here. Be with your breath, without anticipating what's next. Be here. Arrive ad infinitum. Chin to the mat, bend the knees, flex the feet. If you grab the right ankle on the first side, you're going to grab the left ankle this time, or grab both ankles. Ankles and knees hug in, hip width distance apart, shoulder blades on the back. Kick and lift, thighs lift higher, shoulders are pulled back. Open your chest up like you're the maiden at the bow of a ship. Just crash, waves crashing against your chest. You don't care. You're just made of wood. Sides of the neck back, crown of the head lifts, and then lower the knees down. Keep the ankles. Perhaps if you just have one ankle, switch to the right ankle, and then roll onto your right side. So this is more of a passive stretch. I used to, when I first was introduced to this pose, I'd always try to really activate here, kick the legs, pull the shoulders back. But let's just focus on releasing the body into that right shoulder, feeling the earth push the right shoulder back, creating more opening there. Couple of breaths, soften the edges of your mouth. And then we're going to roll onto our bellies and do the second side. Let the left shoulder be pushed into the floor and pulled back. Back to center and kick one more time. Kick and lift, kick and lift, kick and lift. Be that wooden bow, be that badass bow. Shoulders back, kick and lift, and then let it go. Right cheek to the floor, head to the arm bones forward, big toes touch, heels wide apart, head heavy, neck soft, arms heavy, upper back broad. Melt into the earth. Recognize that support, trust that support. You will not fall into the center of the earth. It's going to hold you up. This mantle, this crust. Return to your breath. Embrace each breath
and recognize what may be often seen as a monotonous activity as you are doing it every day, all day, all day, every moment of your life. Notice how each breath is unique. Okay, chin to the floor, tuck your toes, plant your wrists by your ribs, send your hips back to your heels, walk your hands back to your hips and sit up, taking a seat on your heels with your toes tucked under. Okay, as I said, we are going to practice those drop backs. I've allowed a whole 15 minutes, so that's way more than I usually have to do things like this. So take a seat or take a stance on your knees, possibly with the knees on some padding. If you have tender knees, hips over the knees, hands on the hips, lengthen the tailbone down, lift into the front of the pelvis, standing on the knees just as we stood in Tadasana. Roll the shoulders back, broaden across the collarbones, and let's start the same way we did with our standing back bend. Interlace your fingers behind your back, hug your shoulder blades together, lengthen the tailbone down, lift the heart up. Inhale, inflate the chest. Exhale, extend the knuckles down. Look along the ceiling towards the back wall, curl in the back. Look back, curl back, look back, curl back. Release the head if it feels okay. If it doesn't, don't do it. Knees down, hips stay over the heels. Push down with the knees, push down with the feet. Lift with the heart. The higher the heart, the longer the spine, the more space you'll have to curl back. And then chest comes forward, release the hands, shoulder comes forward. Head comes up last. Tuck the toes, take a seat on the heels, knees together. Neutralize the spine, head over the heart, heart over the center of the pelvis. So I'm going to give you options today, as I hope you always feel that you have options with me and with whatever yoga class you're in. It's your body. You have choice. Okay, so option here to start to practice this drop back thing. So if you've done this with me before, great. If you have somebody you are practicing with currently, they might stabilize your hips and you can switch positions. Otherwise, you can do this on your own. You're powerful. You're a powerful person. Okay. So you can do what I'm inviting you to do. If you do a camel pose, you can take a camel pose, or you can do the hands interlaced at the low back as we've done. Okay, so option 2, ground through the hips, establish the base from the hips to the knees, reach the right arm up along the right ear, start to draw the arm back behind the ear, tailbone down, heart lifts, look back, curl back. Look back, curl back, look back, curl back, look back, curl back. Start to release the hips a little bit. Look back, curl back, touch down. Sides the waistline forward, hips forward. Arms up. Second side, so if you might be helpful to watch that before you do it. So second side, lift up out of the left waistline, lengthen down through the tailbone. Lift up, heart up, lift up, heart up, look back, curl back, look back, curl back, look back, curl back. Hand down, come back up. Okay. Third option, ground through the knees, lengthen through the tailbone, arms overhead, lift up out of the waistline, arms back, head back, heart up, look back, curl back, look back, curl back, look back, curl back, head back, hands back. Come back up. Make whatever kind of groaning, moaning sound that feels appropriate for you. When you're done, tuck the toes, take a seat on your heels, neutralize your spine. Whew. Boy, is that some deep work, isn't it? Okay. So that's kind of the dropping back and coming back up from your knees. So obviously if you're standing up, it's further to drop back, it's further to come up. But I think that establishing your dropping back, coming back up is a great, establishing that in the, from the camel pose is really solid place to start. Okay, so that's our one thing. And now we're gonna move on to our wheel pose. So if you have blocks, great. This is a great place for blocks. I'm gonna come to my wall space. I'm gonna take my blocks. So again, lots of options for you empowered people out there. Blocks at the wall. I'm gonna just start with a wheel pose, an intro to wheel pose here. So I like to have the blocks at an angle against the wall, and this really helps with the wrists. This helps the wrists from going from being pulled back into this overexertion point. Okay, so if you are not sure about wheel pose, then please, if you have blocks, use them. I like to use them even though I am pretty sure about wheel pose. I've done it a lot. It's one of my favorites. I still like the blocks. Okay, so bring your heels in towards your hips, feet parallel to one another, knees pointing towards the ceiling, hands on the blocks, elbows towards the ceiling, fingertips pointing towards your shoulders. Okay, step one, as I learned it and as I teach it, push your feet into the floor, lift your hips up, and come to the top of your head. Elbows in towards your armpits, shoulders up away from your ears, keep your elbows shoulder width distance apart. Roll towards the bridge of your nose, walk your feet in any further towards the wall, and then let's all do it together with a big grunt. Straighten your arms, heart towards the wall, gaze between the blocks. Inner feet ground down, outer hips lift, lengthen through your tailbone, roll your inner thighs down. Try to straighten the arms, try to bring the shoulders over the wrists. Tuck your chin to your chest, lower your back body to or towards the floor. So, if you have not practiced wheel pose this way before, you are going to be like, that's hard. I thought of all sorts of expletives, but I thought better of using them. Okay, so that is a really hard way to get up into wheel pose, but it gives you a lot of access to the upper back, and this is where the pose really happens, is in the upper back. So if you've come up into wheel pose before without those steps, likely your arms are like way over your head. So to really get this place where your shoulders are above your wrists, this is a good way to access the pose. So if you just found it not accessible to get your hips up off the floor, if you have a bolster, if you have a stack of blankets, then put your hips underneath. So put the blankets underneath your hips so that your hips are higher. That will be easier to get them off of the floor, off of the padding. Okay, so we're gonna do that again. So we're deep into our back bending extravaganza here. Hands frame the head, fingertips toward the shoulder, hands on blocks or the mat. Tuck the heels towards the hips, feet parallel, be against a wall. Tuck your chin, head to the floor, lift your hips, walk your feet in, roll towards the bridge of your nose, elbows shoulder width distance, then push up, heart towards or to the wall, walk your feet in, push into the floor, heart towards the wall, inner thighs down, lengthen your tailbone, ground through your inner feet, lift your outer hips. Okay, get all the way to the wall if you're not there. Walk there. How confusing is that? Don't think too much about it if you're walking upside down. Okay, chin to chest, come on down. Take your feet as wide as the mat, let your knees fall together, hands to the body, hand to the belly, hand to the heart space. Find your breath. And really, thanks for being here, even if you're just watching me do this. I know if this is for you today, then you're going right along with me. So I'm thinking of, Oh, I'm thinking of Christiana and Noah and hoping that they're doing this practice today. And I know that they're interested in back bend, so I hope they're enjoying this. Lynn, I think you're out there too, maybe just watching and making fun of me. I like that too. Okay, so your best back bends come when you're all done doing back bends. So if you're all done, then get on your mat and do some more. Okay, so now we're gonna do that walking up the wall thing, and maybe we'll try walking down the wall. Let's see. Okay, heels into the hips, hands on the blocks or on the floor, lift the hips, come to the top of the head, roll towards the bridge of the nose, walk the feet in, elbows in, shoulder width distance, and grunt. Straighten the arms, chest towards the wall, shoulders over the wrist. Walk the feet in any more, ground through the feet. Walk the hands up the wall, come to standing. Woo! My feet were way wider than my hips, but that's what happens. Walk your feet away from the wall. Ground into your feet, tone the muscles up your legs, lengthen down through your tailbone, sweep your arms overhead, reach up, look up, pull the arms back behind the ears, curl back, curl back. Actually, I have to walk towards the wall again, sorry. Walk towards the wall, hands to the wall, palms on the wall. Walk the feet away, walk down the wall. This is very by the seat of my pants instruction. Yeah, let's do it. Do it again. Come up. Go back. Come up. Getting dizzy. Go back. Do it 50 more times. Okay. So keep doing that. Pause the stream if that's possible. Come to lie on your back when you're done being silly and ridiculous. Knees together, feet apart. Flatten your low back against the floor. One hand to your belly, one hand to your heart. Reestablish your breath. How is the breath moving through your body? Be curious. Be accepting. And then can you start to manipulate the movement of breath through your body? Can you first inflate your abdomen and then your chest as you inhale? Letting the chest fall and then the abdomen fall as you exhale. Where is the breath naturally going? Where is it less accessible? Can you access the less accessible? Feet together. Lift your feet up off the floor. Cup your knees with your hands. Push your knees into your hands. Flatten your low back against the floor. Rock your hips side to side. Massaging the low back gently against the floor. And then draw your knees in a little further. Slowly begin to rock along your spine. Very gingerly after all of those back bends. I'm not even going all the way back. If I'm any good example for anything right now. Okay, come on up and push back. Downward facing dog, or DFD as I like to call it. Push your hands down and forward, shift your hips up and back. Inhale, right leg lifts. Look to the top of your mat. Exhale, lunge your right shin forward, setting up for pigeon pose. Okay, what pigeon do you like? I'm just gonna name some pigeons. And I only know the name of one pigeon, and his name is Dennis, and he's on Wow in the World. Extend your left leg straight back. Tuck the toes under or choose not to. Square the hips forward. Scissor the legs together. If the right hip is on the floor, the left hip is up off of the floor. Put some padding underneath the right hip to lift it up. Lift along the front of the torso and then drape the length of your spine forward. Possibly resting the head on forearms, balled fist. Oh, how the weather has changed since we started the practice. In like a lamb, out like a lion for this practice, if you know what I mean. Communicate with your right hip using the conduit of your breath. Lift back up onto your forearms, and let's just do a little twist. One direction, left forearm down, right fingertips on the floor, keeping your hips as they are. Revolve your left ribs towards the right wall, maybe look up towards the ceiling. And then go the other way, right forearm to the floor, left fingertips on the floor. Revolve your right ribs towards the left wall. And then come back. Tuck the back toes, walk the back knee forward, send the right leg back, downward facing dog, walk the hips from side to side. Let's turn the toes towards the right, bend the left knee, reach the right hip up and back as you push the right outer foot into the floor. Maybe shift the hips from side to side. And then back to center, inhale, left leg lifts, look to the top of your mat, lunge the left shin forward, set up for pigeon pose, second side. Establish your pigeon. Oh my gosh, my reference to Wow in the World, I'm sure, was not understood by anyone. It's just a podcast featuring a kids radio DJ, but it's quite fun. Lift into your torso, lengthen along the front of your spine, and then drape the length of your spine forward. Now, Dennis isn't the pigeon, Dennis is the neighbor. Sorry for all of you Wow in the World lovers out there who are like, reference Wow in the World and then you're not even going to get it right. Sorry, guys. I get a little loopy after that, after those back bends. Notice if that's true for you too. That was wild ride. Establish your breath and your body. Communicate with the outer hip, the low spine. Okay, right forearm to the floor, left fingertips to the mat. Revolve your right ribs towards the left, stacking your shoulders, looking up, and then go to the second side. Left forearm down, right fingertips down. Revolve your left ribs towards the right, stack the shoulders, look up, back through center, plant the hands, send the left leg back, push the hips up and back, turn the toes towards the left, bend the right knee, shift the left hip up and back, round through the outer edge of the left foot as you straighten the left leg, shift the hips side to side. And then knees back to the floor, swing your legs forward. And once again, come to lie on your back. Whew. Okay, knees into the chest, widen your knees to your armpits, grab your feet, rock side to side. Happy baby. Gotta say, I kind of love babies, especially when I don't have to sleep in the same room as them. Okay, inner feet together, interlace your fingers around your outer feet, widen your knees apart, flatten your low back against the floor, push your feet into your hands, let the heads of your arm bones lift away from the floor. Good news in the Brownstone house. My younger daughter went her first night without wearing a diaper. So goodbye, good riddance to diapers. Okay, what are we doing here? Hug, give yourself a big hug. Are you still here? Are you still here? You're amazing. I love you. I'm so impressed. This is great. Give yourself a hug. Tuck your chin to your chest, squeeze your legs together, forehead towards or to your knees. Tuck your tailbone, less of your back body on the floor, squeeze in. And then let it go. Another tribute to Elsa here. Let it go. Okay, find your comfort. Find your comfort items here. I'm going to put on the sweater because we are going to cool down our bodies in Savasana. So if you're going to be uncomfortable when your body cools down, then prepare for that to happen. I also like a little padding underneath my head, so get yourself comfortable here. So do not leave. Do not leave yet. The practice is not over. The practice continues into this beautiful state of rest, calm, peace, Savasana. So just as we embodied our mountain, we are going to embody our corpse. That sounds a little morbid, but it's actually quite a lovely idea that we are going to bring the body into rest. There might even be this idea of transcending the body, letting the body rest with while taking just an outside look at the body at rest and the mind at rest, considering that there is a part of our being that is beyond the habitation of this body and beyond the habitation of this mind that we were born into. And that is true for each of us, and that perhaps as we remove ourselves from this physical being, this earthly vehicle that we see, that we all are just souls inhabiting bodies, inhabiting minds. Okay, so make your body comfortable. Do the little movements that make your body comfortable. Maybe tuck your tailbone, and then settle your buttocks into the floor. Arms at your sides, palms face up. Tuck your shoulder blades underneath your chest, then settle those shoulder blades in. Unfurl the fingers, open the palms. You might tuck your chin to your chest, establish some length along the back of the neck before releasing the weight of the skull, the weight of the brain. So what about that resting face again? Does it hold tension? Neutralize the face as you cease to inhabit your bodies somewhat. And the beauty of this is as we start to take a step back from this inhabitation of the body, we see that the vital functions of the body continue on. You don't stop breathing, your heart doesn't stop beating at all. The blood flows whether you're telling it to or not. So just let your body do what your body does. Just take a break. And as I was saying earlier, this idea that we are doing all of these asana poses, doing all these foreign poses at first, then we get familiar with them, but making all of these foreign actions to our body in an effort to get stronger, to become more flexible, more adaptable, and that our mind is along on that journey. And let the mind be along on this journey of removal, of lack of intervention. So I like to think that this idea that the mind doesn't stop, just as the body doesn't stop. But without intervention, the mind continues to think, continues its vital functioning. But is it possible to view it without without an agenda, without urgency, without need? Curiosity and acceptance for mind and body at this moment. And I've been toying with the idea that might result in a feeling of peace, of oneness with the world. Start to reanimate the extremities of the physical being. Movement of fingers, movement of toes. Maybe wiggle the tip of your nose. Then slowly start to reawaken the limbs. Perhaps rock the head from side to side. Eventually bringing larger movements into the body, bending the knees, feet to the floor, extend your right arm along your right ear and roll onto your right side. Moving from our corpse pose into this fetal position, re-emerging into our day, stronger, more flexible, more adaptable, accepting where we are and ready to move forward into the next moment. Arrive in your seated posture with your eyes closed. Bring your palms together in front of your heart. And we will close practice with the single sound of Om together. Exhale and inhale for Om. Thank you for joining this practice. Thank you for your focus, your attention, your hard work throughout. The light that lives within me honors the light which lives in each and every one of you. Namaste. Thank you guys. Let me know who you are. Send me a text if you know me like that, or send an email to Athens Public if I will receive it. Yeah, whether you're doing the practice live or the pre-recorded class, let me know how you're doing. If you have any suggestions or requests, I miss you guys. I would love to hear from you. I do like the idea that this might be more accessible to more people, like people in different places other than Athens. So if you're not in Athens and you are doing the class, let me know. I want to know you. And I also, very unlikely, but I wanted to give a shout out to my old practice buddy, Barrett. I was thinking about him a lot today because we used to practice in his apartment all the time, just the two of us doing videos online. And there was so much that I learned to do, the two of us hanging out in his apartment, watching Noah Maze videos. So that's where I learned, it's one of the places I really learned to establish my drop bag practice. So yeah, shout out to Barrett and everyone else. Yeah, please keep joining me here, and yeah, please get in touch. I miss you guys. Signing off. End of my stream here.